Hello, beautiful people. How are you today? It's Sunday. I'd like to cover a subject, a really heavy subject that people really need to know about. It's about HAARP, and it's about HAARP cars, and it's about Project Phoenix and low frequency microwave technology and the things that the government doesn't want to admit to because they gang stalk and single out people like me. Now, first of all, let me tell you why they've singled me out. Two reasons. I don't want to get that much into the first reason, which being the Black reparations lawsuit. If you people don't know much about this, it is the lawsuit that was supposed to change the way I was supposed to live and to be looked at, and my lifestyle and everything, because due to my family being of sovereign blood on one side and the other side English royalty, not British German. What I mean by English royalty is two sides of my family from my father's mother's side. They were Breedlove and Lovejoy, and also the Ewings. The Ewings are Dutch royalty, but the Breedloves and Lovejoys were English royalty, and those people actually got out of prison in the UK on apprenticeships because they were enslaved. They were thrown in jail after the German monarch came and basically took over what we know as England, and they started the thing called British, Yiddish, Itish, British, Germanish, the fake Jews. So they started this in what we know as England, and this is the difference between an Englishman and a Britishman. British and English. If you go to the UK, they completely know the difference, and some people get offended when you call them British because there's a difference. When you say you're British, you're actually saying that you're German descendant, not pure English sovereign descendant. So anyways, the Black reparations lawsuit would have exposed this. It would have also exposed that due to my mother's side of the family, my mother's father, he's a Nubian Moor. The Nubian Moors were the brown, dark-skinned, sovereign people that were in the United States, all throughout the Americas, the first world travelers ever to be known throughout history. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's surfacing right now about, they're finding old bones of, say, Caucasians, and they're trying to make Caucasians the first world travelers now because they found a few skulls here and there. Simple fact of the matter is these skulls are not older than the Nubian Moor stones. What this actually does is this places some logic and some truth on biblical stuff. But we all know the Bible, all that stuff happened much later than they talk about. It's much older. But what I mean is, okay, because they found Caucasian bones in specific places all over the world, and now they're trying to say the Olmecs weren't the first world travelers. Well, what this proves is, and it doesn't, you don't need to be a scientist to actually figure this out. What they actually did, the Olmecs, they enslaved Caucasians. They were slaves. See, there are no Olmec bones that you can find anywhere because their technology was so advanced, they probably disappeared into a parallel dimension or just went into outer space. But the evidence of them has been found all over the world. There's stones that have been built all over the world and leave scientists in an enigma, just like the pyramids, because they built Kish, not Egypt. Kish was a Nubian city. Then it grew into Egypt when the Nubians that taught the Greeks how to read and write in Timbuktu started mingling with the Egyptians and started breeding with the with the Nubians, and then Kish developed into Egypt, and all of their teachings and stuff, they got into human sacrifice and all that stuff with the Greeks. So I know my history. So basically all these new scientists, they found about 3 Caucasian skulls in different places that are very old, but they don't predate the Nubian stones. So scientifically, what this should say is the Caucasians were slaves by the Nubians, because there are no Caucasian cities, there are no this, there's no that, and so the Caucasians were moved around by the Nubians. They were slaves. So the Black Reparations lawsuit would have brought the truth to the public, but now scientists are trying to say that Caucasians were here and there before this and this. Not true. Simply because the fact of the matter is they don't predate Nubian Moor relics, which are stones and other buildings and other cities that they found. They have not found any Caucasian skulls like this. Now, if you go back to the Bible and you actually study what it says and go back to Canaanites and what Cain was an albino. Cain was a redhead, freckled, brown, brown dotted dude. He was ugly. Cain killed Abel. Cain was the first murderer. Cain built the Canaanites that worship gold, prostitution, and drugs and all that wicked shit. And then when Yeshua came, he fought the Canaanites and threw them out of his father's temple. Canaanites. Yeah, they were around, but they were actually kicked out of the family that was originally from Eden. And I say Eden because Eden is prescribing a place that was built in a dome, put away from many other places anywhere on earth, and it was basically a harmonious project, and it's a den, a Eden. This is why they called it Eden. So Cain, what he did with the family was perfectly genetically perfect. Cain killed Abel and took his wife and started the Canaanites. Inbreeding. See, the DNA material from the people in Eden was absolutely perfect and untainted. They were probably had Asian, Caucasian, African, Indian, whatever. All of having different traits, different bloodlines, all in the family because they were actually probably made. It's a big experiment. This is my hypothesis. So then when you get to Cain and the Canaanites, and the people that the Freemasons worship, they worship Cain because he was the first albino. He was the first quote unquote Caucasian. He was the first murderer. Okay, so then when you get the Caucasian skulls all over, those are Canaanites. So when Adam and Eve and their family left Eden, their family prospered and grew, and they were the dark-skinned Nubians, basically. And so they had many problems with troglodytes, always at war with Cain's inbred family because they were sick. Now, when you get into all of this history, it explains a lot with the Caucasian skulls being found in different places and how old they are, but they've never found any Nubian Moor skulls. I mean, Nubian Moors predate Maya, and they still don't know what happened to the Mayans. It's a big mystery. So anyways, my family is part of the Nubian Moors. We're the first world travelers. We're the ones that no one wants to admit to because this actually makes my people sovereign throughout the whole world, throughout the Americas. Our relics are all throughout South America, Easter Island, throughout Europe. I was in Paris and I dug up Olmec stones that were made out of the same stones on Easter Island. The thing about it is, I still have a lot of these stones. Miss DiCarlo, if you're out there listening to this, to all you scientists that are out there listening to this, I still have a lot of these stones. They managed to take away most of them at the airport, but I have a big package of them that I wrapped in paper. I still have a bunch of them. So basically, these stones are the same stones that are the same material as the stones on Easter Island, as a lot of stones throughout South America. They're fossilized. They're absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. And I dug these stones up in the Bastille in Paris. Now, when I made this discovery, it was legendary because I actually put together, through talking to other Frenchmen in France, the history of the Bastille, because what I actually did is I would display these rocks on a bench close to where I was digging, and I would dig all day, all night, non-stop, because I was homeless. And so then during the day when the teachers would come with the kids, I'd show the kids their history. I'd show old people their history, and even scientists, French scientists, came out to view these rocks because they couldn't believe it, and they talked to me. They actually told me the history of the Bastille. They told me that the Bastille used to be an old French fishing village, predating the fort. Now that's a very long time ago. That's before medieval times. That's before they built the fort. That's before they built even Paris. They told me that it was a fishing village right there in the Bastille. And that's where these little rocks come from, because they used to put them on spears and spearfish. So there are a lot of little arrows, pyramid-shaped rocks that are beautifully carved, that you cannot dispute, that are older than any Indian arrowheads that I found in France. I dug up in the Bastille, and they weren't brought there. In actuality, what happened was, I thought about it, and when they did build the Bastille, they had to dig up a lot of dirt. Okay? So the Bastille was taken down by the Freemasons from Germany, the Rothschilds, and they built what you see today. Now, when they built what you see today over the Bastille, the keep, the fort, which is still there, it's a secret French base because I went in it, I know. I accessed it through the subway because I would sleep in the subway and sometimes I'd go through the tunnels. Now, I'm going to let you hip on some stuff while I'm being gang stalked. This is the real info that you need to know. Now, in Paris, what you see, the Bastille, it's created by Freemasons and was designed by Freemasons, and they left a lot of clues to actually, if you're into the Laura Croft stuff and figuring out the Knights Templar stuff and figuring out, Freemason clues and stuff. And this is what I did in the Bastille. I solved it. Took me about 3 days. They've been paying men since the days of Solomon to try to solve what I did. And I solved it in about a few days. Once I understood all of the Freemason clues that are all around Paris and the Bastille. And I will post my note, the Freemason note, talking about how I solved the clues in the Bastille and found out how to get into the fortress, basically, that at the end of it, they have the Knights Templars treasure in the keep where the French used to hide and still keep a lot of their gold and money. Trillions and billions of dollars is basically the Rothschild stolen gold deposit piggy bank there. And they can't move all that gold. It's too much. So, anyway, the Bastille, when you get into it, what they had to do when they designed it, they had to dig up all the dirt that was basically around the fort, and they pushed it up. So what actually they did is, when they pushed all this dirt up, they pushed a lot of the stones, a lot of the topsoil that was in the fishing village predating the Bastille fort. They pushed all of that soil up, which these stones were everywhere. I mean, that village must have been huge. It must have been a huge fishing village. I estimate the Nubian Moors would travel in and throughout France, going to the Americas through Europe. So basically, that's the proof of these arrowheads that I have. They're absolutely priceless. To all you scientists, to Lauren DiCarlo, to anyone that wishes to see them, I'm here in Houston, Texas. Please give me a call, 4315 High Point Lane, Houston, Texas. I have nothing to hide. I mean, these gang stalkers are actually outside my home right now, and I'm recording this because they're actually stupid. With the right material, you can actually pick up the frequency. Let me be silent for about 20 seconds so you really good scientists can actually hear with the right equipment what the low alpha wave frequency is, because everything can be picked up on a recording. Okay, now back at it. So I like to get scientific about my stuff and explain to people everything that I've actually discovered. So when I blew the lid off this, all of the French people, the schools, I mean, there were several teachers that got out at the schools, and they were bringing their students down to see these stones and listen to me talk. I'd actually rap about this to the kids and do some beatboxing stuff, and the teachers loved it. It was a really cool time in France, and a lot of the kids did speak English, so they did understand. I had a good time in the Bastille, but what I actually really did is I really pissed off the Rothschilds, because in actuality I went up in their shit right above their biggest gold deposit in the world. And I was telling people that this land is sovereign because I found these stones on this land. And the French have known, and French scientists have tried to do so much about this, but ultimately the Rothschilds are the most corrupt, evil motherfuckers in the world, and silenced them. So for me to be doing this, a homeless person in France, to be displaying this 24 hours, 7 days a week, and to be out there in the Bastille telling the Rothschilds, fuck you, and fuck you, and having the police record everything, because I got attacked a few times. And finally, after I got the police to admit that they have cameras, like all over the Bastille. They have cameras. They're recording everything in that little wharf where all the boats park. Everything is recorded. So they have every day, 247, everything that I did. Everything. So the Freemasons and whatever can go review it, review everything, and I exposed all of their stuff. Now, I don't know if you know what happened in October of last year. October of last year was very significant. October of last year began the first audit on the Federal Reserve, that is the Rothschilds Bank. The Federal Reserve, the United States Federal Reserve Bank and Trust, belongs to the Rothschilds. They print the euro, they print the American dollar. They are the biggest crooks in the world. Now, the Black Reparations lawsuit on September 15th would have actually started this audit on them, but it didn't happen because of 9/11. Now, I am the #1 recipient of the Black Reparations lawsuit. Now, can you imagine the #1 recipient of the Black Reparations lawsuit, which they know, which the Freemasons, Rothschilds, Illuminatis, they all know me. They've known me since I was born. The proof of this is on my straw man bond. Okay, my straw man bond is my birth certificate. If you have a birth certificate and you're American, look under where it says, you thought it said your mother. It doesn't say your mother, it says informant. And look on the lower right hand corner, that red number, that's your stock trading number that they've been trading in secret since the day you were born. Okay, now understand that this is a plan that they've planned, and they've known this, and understand me going right up in their shit and exposing their shit homeless on the streets, and there's nothing they can do about it. And the French have been waiting for something like this, because in actuality, the British German Rothschilds have no right to their land, have no right to sell or buy their land, and the French government knows, and they've been covering this fact up for a very, very, very long time. I have no need to lie, and this is what they do. Because the French land, this is why everyone wants a piece of Paris, because Paris should legally only be owned by sovereign French, should only be sold by sovereign French, and the Rothschilds are not French. The Rothschilds own more land in France than any Frenchman. So what this discovery that I was doing, when it's actually proven that the French are sovereign, and this is why you have the light-eyed, curly-haired, dark-skinned French women. Those are the descendants of the Nubians. Those are the sovereign French. Those are the people that the Nazis hunted when the Nazis came to Paris. Those are the children of 90 Days of Sodom. If you never saw that movie, I've seen it once. This is what the Nazis did to French kids. Now, I was exposing all of this every day, every night in the Bastille, and I had the proof sitting right out on the street for anybody to come and dispute me, and they couldn't. So this is what I did in Paris, okay? And this is why I'm being gang stalked. This is why I have these motherfuckers pumping this low-frequency microwave shit inside my home, trying to make me sick, trying to make me depressed, trying to make me fat, trying to make me crazy, trying to do all this stuff to discredit me. So if I die of some strange disease or some heart attack or this or this or this, I go in silence. And it's like, oh, it's just a coincidence. Nobody killed him. He's crazy. Please, Nazis, I got the proof. I got the evidence. That's why I'm recording this. So then, when you get into what I exposed in Paris, government agents started to come down. Because I started to speculate one big thing. Everyone in the educated secret government world knows that 9/11 was done by the Federal Reserve Bank, was done by the Rothschilds, was done by the Bushes, was done by the Skull and Bones and the CIA, all incorporated. Because they run the United States slave trade, which is us, via the straw man bond in secrecy. So they couldn't have the black reparations lawsuit come out, because they couldn't have someone as educated, as talented, as gifted as me have money. Because if I had my studio, if I had a little bit of money, what do you think I'd be doing with it? I'd be on YouTube. I'd be giving my albums away. They would have been done years ago. Okay? So then when you get into everyone knowing this, my hypothesis was this. 9/11 was done. Everybody knows there was a ton of gold that was stolen from underneath the Twin Towers, okay? So this gold was taken on the trains, the buildings were imploded, and then the trains got out to the Bay of New York. From the Bay of New York, the gold was put onto boats, and then the boats were shipped out to sea, and maybe these big boats met up with some smaller boats. Boats, I forget what they're called, but they're perfect boats for the rivers in Paris. They're like barges that are used to carry heavy material. So then when you get this, and say these boats met up with government boats, and then these specialized boats were made just to harness gold and to hold large amounts of gold. Okay, say these boats were brought into the Bastille, say maybe however long it takes for a boat to get from New York to Paris. Okay, and say this gold from the boats, after the boats parked in the Bastille, was secretly taken out by, say, scuba divers at night, and taken into the Bastille. Now let me tell you how I like really fucked them up, because in my note I exposed the underground little tunnel that I actually found that probably has a water entrance from underneath the Bastille. That's why when you go in the Bastille and go down to the little wharf part where the boats are parked, there's one pier. On that pier, there's one side of it is there's hollow stones. So that led me to believe that since it was hollowed out, there's a tunnel. So what I actually think is the Grand Blue, which you can go there if it's still open. It's a Freemason restaurant. They have Freemason napkins in the fucking restaurant. So the Grand Blue, that guy is the guy that controls when the door opens and shuts to the underground water tunnel. So with scuba gear and other stuff, you've seen it on James Bond, if they have these little motor things that they can put underwater and that actually have motors and you can put gold on it. They go through the tunnel and deposit the gold in the Rothschilds like little piggy bank. What I suspect is you can put stuff in because whoever designed it to put gold in, but you can't get it out until you find the key that I dug up. It's actually it's an old big stone that fits on the head of a spear. It's huge. So anyways, this is my hypothesis. And so I started writing all in the Bastille, what I thought, and the clues and stuff. All my graffiti is all around there if they didn't take it off. So I got the attention of FBI agents. I got the attention of Interpol. I got the attention of French intelligence when I was doing this. So what actually happened, going back to the audit on the Federal Reserve, because even the French and some really good FBI agents really want to be free, and they know the Illuminati did this, because let me tell you about the FBI agent that died in the Twin Towers. Did you know there was an FBI agent, male, who knew about 9/11, who knew about Al-Qaeda, CIA, and knew something was going to go down, but he didn't know it was going to be in the Twin Towers. He knew something was going to go down in New York with Al-Qaeda, and he told some people, guess what? They gave this FBI agent a job of Twin Tower security. The first day he worked at the Twin Towers was, guess what day it was? 9/11. He died. So they don't talk about this FBI agent, but all of the other bullshit FBI agents know. Okay, so I was approached by an FBI agent. I was approached by a lot of different agents. So basically, to make a long story short, they asked me to do some investigation on how the Rothschilds were laundering money and doing other things, because they couldn't figure out how they were moving this digital money, because basically they were being audited and they're trying to hide their money. Now what I figured out is this. Now this really shouldn't be too hard for you guys to put your heads around, because after I wrote a note about this, I was approached by one of France's leading scientists. He was Iranian, and he couldn't believe, like, the note that I wrote. He couldn't believe somebody like me would figure this out, because I mean, he is actually a mathematical genius, and he came and sat and talked to me for about an hour in the Bastille, in the subway, one night, because I would sleep there because it was cold. Now, basically, this is what I figured out. You may have not heard this term. This is my term. It's called H.A.A.R.P cars. H.A.A.R.P being spelled H-A-A-R-P. Please look it up on YouTube. Weather weapon. That's what it is. It's a perversion of Nikola Tesla's technology. Now, what France, what the Rothschilds, what the American government has done with Project Phoenix. If you don't know about Project Phoenix, look up Project Phoenix on YouTube and find the 2-hour videos that are explaining what Project Phoenix is. It is actually the study of silent weapons, the study of microwave technology, using it as a weapon. using ALF, low frequency waves, as a weapon. This is what H.A.A.R.P is. They claim H.A.A.R.P is the way they communicate in underground bases and to do all this communications, but in actuality, if there are clouds in the sky, if there's natural weather, they cannot beam the H.A.A.R.P microwaves into the ionosphere via outer space, because the clouds with their natural capabilities block this from happening. So what they do is they beam microwaves into the clouds and make them disperse, and eventually they figured out that they can do this to make storms. This is how they did Hurricane Sandy, that monster storm. Plenty of links on YouTube proving that it was the government, that it was H.A.A.R.P that created that unnatural storm, Sandy, that it was H.A.A.R.P in Japan, that it was H.A.A.R.P in Haiti with the earthquakes. There's plenty of videos that scientists show you with not even a fifth of H.A.A.R.P's power, they can generate a small trembles in a cup with microwaves. In a cup of ice, they show you the frequencies of how the microwave technology makes the water and makes the ice shake. Now, imagine taking the amount of power that H.A.A.R.P has and beaming it into the earth and asking it to disperse at a certain level. Boom, earthquake. The Haiti earthquake was unnatural. The tsunami in Japan was unnatural. But these Illuminati Nazis want you to think that it's Mother Earth taking her wrath out on us and trying to bring this biblical Armageddon about that they wrote about, not God. Okay? The devil went into the church for 1,000 years and changed God's teachings. It says this in the Bible. His 1,000 years are up. And now all they can do is lie and try to bring about Armageddon and try to take away your personal power and get you to believe in this bullshit. Please, get educated. So then, when you get into my discovery in Paris, it has to do with H.A.A.R.P cars. Now, what I proved with this scientist, because he was sitting down there by agents to talk to me, and he figured out how it could be done, and he said, wow, it's so simple. Because he loves Nikola Tesla and he studies H.A.A.R.P. Because he's from Iran and they use these weapons over there. I wish I'd known about Project Phoenix. Maybe he did. I don't know. But when I said this is what I suspect, it's the only thing that makes sense. They have utilized H.A.A.R.P technology, which is microwave technology, low frequency technology, which they use in cell phones, which they use this everywhere. If you got a wireless network in your house, you're using their technology. Wireless. How do you think the internet works? How do you think you can beam that much information? Okay, downloading stuff. I mean, how do you think all that stuff works through the air with your computer not being hooked up to anything? H.A.A.R.P technology, people. Okay? So they have it in your home. They've given it to you in small increments, but you don't even notice it. Wireless networks. This is the basis of what H.A.A.R.P is. Okay? Let me tell you about Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla designed a machine that could give everyone free electricity based on this technology. You wouldn't have to hook up your computer. You wouldn't have to hook up anything to turn it on. But the American government doesn't want you to have this. No one wants you to have this because they can't have people in South America having no wires and be able to use things that are based on electricity technology. They have to charge you electricity. They have to enslave you to make money when Nikola Tesla designed something that you could turn on a light, no wires. So now they've perverted his technology and they're reselling it to you. And now they're using it also as weapons as Project Phoenix. Please look it up. Now what they've done with these cars is they've outfitted these cars with Project Phoenix silent weapons. Now the people all around me, I have two people next door to me, 4315 High Point Lane, Houston, Texas. They're black Freemasons, okay? They're sellouts. They have in their garage these cars. They turn them on at night, and I guess they have remote controls through their computers or whatever, and they fill the house with this shit. Okay? So then you have some Guatemalans from across the street. They're in on it too. They're always knocking on the door trying to come and see if, their agent, which is, acting like my mom, because I really strongly suspect that they killed my mom, and they replaced her in a fat suit like Big Mama. This shit has been implemented into the American public since J. Edgar Hoover, and which would explain why everyone in Houston, Texas is so fat. It makes it really easy for these government agents to replace them and walk around in a fat suit that looks like them, and with that voice decoder recognition shit in the suit so they can sound just like them. Okay, this is not the movies. This is 2013. If you haven't seen, Running Man? If you haven't seen Big Mama's House? I mean, these fat suits are legendary in Hollywood. Okay? So it's easy to do. And when you go to Texas, let me tell you something about Texas. It's not a city. Geographically, it's considered a cow town. So these motherfuckers consider us their cattle. So I'm not going to even get into what they did to my family, but they have gang stalkers set up all in this neighborhood. Right behind the house, I had a house of drug dealers. They're not drug dealing anymore because I started writing about them on Facebook. So they used to have guys with H.A.A.R.P cars, with bass cars, with that low alpha rate frequency shit, always come outside their house and park. Now what they've done is there's Mexicans on the street behind me in a pink house. They're into it too. Now you can hear the phone ringing, and they always call, and it's always a toll-free number. It's always their robotic shit trying to stop me from talking about this. When I get a little bit too close to the truth, it always happens like this. So anyways, let me tell you something. I just hung up on them. So all of these motherfuckers in this neighborhood are being gang stalked. So all of you agents, I'm going to put this on Anna Chapman's page. I'm going to post this on my page. I'm going to post this on the secret agents I have on my Facebook. They already know, but I'm going to let everybody know. 4315 High Point Lane, so you can Google this shit. Houston, Texas, 77053. I'm blowing up this house. I'm sick of being here. I'm being sick of gang stalk. I'm sick of having no money. I'm sick of being here every fucking day because I don't leave my home. Because if I left my home, the gang stalkers would come in, change shit, put shit into my computer, fuck it up, then I wouldn't be able to get online. They've done it before. I have no need to lie. This is what they do, gang stalkers. I'm the #1 recipient of the Black Reparations lawsuit. So what they've actually done is they've outfitted these cars with Project Phoenix weapons. They are attacking me morning, noon, day, and night. But I can handle it. I ain't dead yet. So when I get out of this house, and when I get my money, and when I get with the ladies that love me and around the people that love me, and I can start doing my thing and doing my music and writing and doing my art, I can be at peace. But now I am at war, literally at war in my own home. So I'm going to tell you what else I did today, because some significant things are going to be coming down. Everything about my mom that I just said on this video, I called a government agent that is friends with another government agent that is a rogue agent that is very well known throughout history and TV. I told her about my mom, told her about Project Phoenix, told her on her private line. So I'm doing this to protect her. Her name's Terry. Everybody knows the connection between me and Terry. I've had rogues protecting me for a very, very, very long time. Bless all of you. So anyways, getting back to Paris and what I exposed. Now, they actually were using, they use these cars for several things, okay? Now, I've told you about your wireless connections, but what you really don't know is these cars can park outside your home, hack into your computer, and take information out or put information in. Basically, make your network a secret virtual bank. What I mean by a secret virtual bank is they can put information in their bank accounts, this and this and this, and you not even know it. So another person at a specific time, get all the information, how to get into your computer, where it is, you don't even know it's there, it's compressed, and then they drive by and get it out. They can do the same shit with your cell phones. Implant information in your cell phone, know where you are, have somebody drive by your car, take out that information, transfer information like this, and do it as fast as shit. Through triangulation and basically gang stalking you and using you as a TI and you don't even know it. So I explained all of this to government agents, and this is what I figured out. This is how they were moving the money and hiding the money with virtual banks. What I mean by a virtual bank is they would compress a large amount of digital money, okay, with codes, and it's encoded, and then say, put it in free space on a cell phone, highly compressed. One of their government agents with a H.A.A.R.P card or a cell phone knows where that person's going to be or knows where that person is, types in a code, per se their Bluetooth, and it accesses all the information and is downloaded into their phone, their laptop, their computer, whatever. Totally in secret. Government spy shit. Okay? I blew the lid off the Rothschilds shit like this, and then 2 weeks later, after I wrote the article, I was attacked in Paris. I was pretty much left for dead in the Bastille. I got in a fight in the Bastille, in that little nice walkway where all the trees were. My arm was broken. I have 2 missing teeth. I had severe head trauma. I had 2 broken fingers. I had severe back problems. I could not even close my jaw to eat food after surgery. I woke up in surgery. So this is what happened to me in Paris. And then I was stuck on the streets with a broken arm in Paris after this. And without the help of friends, thanks Chris, thank you Carrie, thank you to all my great friends for helping me get home and sending me money to get back here to this house. They set up this house for me not to leave. They set up everything and all these neighbors for me to be gang stalked, and that's what they do. Because I've been making videos and talking about these neighbors and everything that they do, and all of these frequencies can be picked up by low alpha wave frequency detectors, stupid neighbors. So anybody can actually see what the fuck you're doing, even from your garages now in your cars. Because now they're trying to limit the drive-bys, because it's making it a bit too obvious if somebody drives and sits in their car like they've been doing for the last 7 months. So be aware. Understand that I'm doing this to educate the public. I got stones that are absolutely priceless. They're worth more than American Indian arrowheads. They're all arrowheads. They're all pyramid stones. The stones speak, therefore I am silent, but I'm not going to be silent anymore. In all honesty, I want to have a life. I want to get married. I want to meet the woman of my dreams. I want to be surrounded by great women. I want to be taught by them. I want them to love me. I want to provide and make a place where women and children can go in safety, where they don't have to be worried about being stalked. And I want to be around people that know about this and that understand and that are highly intelligent and that live through it. I want to move on with my life. I want to have my kids. I want to just breathe again. So this shit is coming to an end really soon. I thank you for your time. bless all of you. I have no need to lie. It's very real. I like to say this again. If you have a wireless connection in your home, please get it out if you have a baby or kids or small children. Or children that are growing. Wireless networks stunt your brain growth. And I hate to say this, kids, but to all of you adults and all of you people that are growing up before wireless connections, you're wondering why these kids are so stupid, and you're wondering how the fuck they like this music that sounds like shit. Well, it ain't their fault. These wireless networks are destroying their brains while they're developing. I strongly urge you to look up the microwave outputage of your wireless network and look up how much output it takes to cook a chicken in a microwave. Then you'll have your answer. But just imagine they're cooking you really slow. And your brain cannot develop, and it's shutting down your third eye. Luckily, us adults were around before all of this technology, so there is hope. All of this damage can be repaired by biofeedback. If you don't know what that is, seek out a technician. It's the thing that helped me. It's the thing that allowed me to close my jaw when the doctor said that I would not be able to eat normally ever again. Specific things with my body and my back, head trauma. It cured all of this within 2 sessions. I was absolutely amazed. After when I was beaten and left for dead, I literally was not seeing straight. My vision was completely blurred 24/7. I had complete migraine headaches 24/7. It was from hemorrhaging in the brain. After 2 sessions of biofeedback, all of this was cured. Literally after the second session, my vision went back to normal. I could see clear. There was no fuzz in my vision. It was like a miracle. So there is hope for you people and your kids. And trust me, don't ever doubt me. I'm doing this for you and for you people that really care to listen. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day. I am Zakaos. Peace. And don't forget, X-Formers on Facebook. It's absolutely incredible. Peace. Simple fact of the matter is these skulls are not older than the Nuwabian Moor stones. What this actually does is this places some logic and some truth on biblical stuff. But we all know the Bible, all that stuff happened much later than they talk about. It's much older. But what I mean is, okay, because they found Caucasian bones in specific places all over the world, and now they're trying to say the Olmecs weren't the first world travelers. Well, what this proves is, and it doesn't, you don't need to be a scientist to actually figure this out. What they actually did, the Olmecs, they enslaved Caucasians. They were slaves. See, there are no Olmec bones that you can find anywhere because their technology was so advanced, they probably disappeared into a parallel dimension or just went into outer space. But because due to my family being of sovereign blood on one side and the other side English royalty, not British German. What I mean by English royalty is 2 sides of my family from my father's mother's side. They were Breedlove and Lovejoy, and also the Ewings. The Ewings are Dutch royalty. but the Breedloves and Lovejoys were English royalty, and those people actually got out of prison in the UK on apprenticeships because they were enslaved. They were thrown in jail after the German monarch came and basically took over what we know as England, and they started the thing called British, Yiddish, Itish, British, Germanish, the fake Jews. So they started this in what we know as England, and this is the difference between an Englishman and a Britishman. British and English. If you go to the UK, they completely know the difference, and some people get offended when you call them British because there's a difference. When you say you're British, you're actually saying that you're German descendant, not pure English sovereign descendant. So anyways, the black reparations lawsuit would have exposed this. It would have also exposed that due to my mother's side of the family, my mother's father, he's a Nubian Moor. The Nubian Moors were the brown, dark-skinned, sovereign people that were in the United States, all throughout the Americas, the first world travelers ever to be known throughout history. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's surfacing right now about, they're finding old bones of, say, Caucasians, and they're trying to make Caucasians the first world travelers now because they found a few skulls here and there. The evidence of them has been found all over the world. There's stones that have been built all over the world and leave scientists in an enigma, just like the pyramids, because they built Kish, not Egypt. Kish was a Nubian city. Then it grew into Egypt when the Nubians that taught the Greeks how to read and write in Timbuktu started mingling with the Egyptians and started breeding with the with the Nubians, and then Kish developed into Egypt, and all of their teachings and stuff, they got into human sacrifice and all that stuff with the Greeks. So I know my history. So basically all these new scientists, they found about 3 Caucasian skulls in different places that are very old, but they don't predate the Nubian stones. So scientifically, what this should say is the Caucasians were slaves by the Nubians, because there are no Caucasian cities, there are no this, there's no that. Hello beautiful people, how are you today? It's Sunday. I'd like to cover a subject, a really heavy subject that people really need to know about. It's about H.A.A.R.P, and it's about H.A.A.R.P cars, and it's about Project Phoenix and low frequency microwave technology and the things that the government doesn't want to admit to because they gang stalk and single out people like me. Now, first of all, let me tell you why they've singled me out. 2 reasons. I don't want to get that much into the first reason, which being the black reparations lawsuit. If you people don't know much about this, it is the lawsuit that was supposed to change the way I was supposed to live and to be looked at, and my lifestyle and everything.